Thanks for joining us for another episode of Fuzzy Memories from the Road. I am Dustin Pari, and with me as always is the lovely, the talented, she gets more beautiful every episode, ladies and gentlemen, so keep tuning in, Miss Brandy Green.
Hey everyone, thank you, Dustin.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And today is a wonderful little episode as we're going to be talking about cases we did in Argentina and Australia, because today's episode is brought to you by the letter A. That's our sponsor, right, Brandy?
It is, and next week we might have the count to count numbers with us.
Yes, we're getting better all the time. Thank God. What are we talking about, Brandy? What did we do this time?
So last episode we were in Argentina, and we continue our journey through Argentina, and this time we are in La Falda, Argentina, at what was it called? The Eden Hotel.
The Eden Hotel, owned by the mafia, but we're not supposed to talk about it. I never said anything. There it is. Everyone's favorite part of the show, the case file. Hotel
Filled with Wikipedia articles.
Absolutely. You can join in the fun. Go check out Wikipedia, put in Hotel Eden, and you'll find pretty much the same stuff. Not the call sheet with our phone numbers and room numbers, but the other stuff. It's on there somewhere.
It totally is.
Right? I remember those call sheets. I still have some of those.
And my handwritten notes for the in-car too. How funny. So this place had sort of a sordid past. It was built in like the late 1800s, and it was another kind of high-end resort spa. I remember back in its heyday. So when we got there, from just walking up to it, there's a huge mountain in back of this place, which is just totally separate from the location now. But in its heyday, they actually owned like the mountain and all of that. Like, it was expansive. It was the place to be. And so Eden Hotel, it was originally owned by Nazi sympathizers, again, in Argentina. During the time, Argentina was a big supporter of that. Which, ironically enough, they had a lot of very famous people staying there, including Einstein.
Go figure.
And I remember when we got there, they actually have a parking spot that's like named after Einstein.
I don't recall that. Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
I think I have a picture of it.
That's great. I remember the mountain. That would have been nice if we could have investigated the whole mountain. That would have been fun and different.
Yeah, so this place, it was a high-end resort and spa. However, it kind of took on like a facade for that, because a lot of very wealthy people would stay there, but they actually would stay there having tuberculosis. So they actually ran a TB hospital there, and these wealthy individuals didn't want their names smeared in, public. And so they pretended, oh, we're going to go to the spa, but no, you're really actually being treated for TB.
Yeah, it's like getting plastic surgery. You're saying you're taking a hiatus and going on vacation. You come back, all of a sudden you have a new face and new boobs. Nobody's going to notice.
No one.
No. Yeah.
And so this place, I remember when we were setting up, so like the crew was loading in and stuff, and I think the producers were kind of talking to who would be our client and all of that. And so I remember it was me, Ashley, and Barry, and we ventured down into the basement area. And you walk into this, I don't know how it is now, but I can only speak to when we were there. And the basement area was pitch dark. And we had our flashlights. And we were like shining them around. And on the walls were the photos of death, the death photos from like the Victorian era where they would prop their dead up and take pictures of them. Yeah.
Nice memento mori photos in the basement. And then, of course, to go with the theme of death and horrible things, what do they have upstairs, Brandy?
Choo-choo!
Train museum. Because why the hell not?
I know. It's like, just pick a theme.
Right.
And let's stick with it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Every floor was a little different.
It really was, because there was that whole section that was just like empty, vacated, like kind of almost in ruin, like empty rooms. Mm-hmm. There was nothing. One room looked just like the other room. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just empty. Which it was tough for filming because it all kind of looks the same. So it's either you've got trains, you're in the basement with photos, or you're just in this weird expanse of nothingness.
Yeah.
Going on.
So a lot of claims of, I think, apparitions and voices, that's kind of the typical stuff.
Okay.
I remember investigating up in like what used to be I think the TB area, but I could be wrong. And that was kind of the section that just every room looked the same. I was up there investigating with another investigator, and we were appealing to, there were a lot of children ghosts claimed to be here. And we were appealing to one specific one, and the other investigator, I think, had asked, like, can you take my hand and just lead me wherever you want us to go. Just take us there, just take my hand. And when he had said that, he had felt an extreme, sudden, cold draft. And I remember going over and feeling the same area, and it was just abnormally cold, and it was moving, and it was low to the ground. I remember that. It was low to the ground, and it was moving out into the hallway, and there was no window open. There was no obvious sign of any reason it should be there. And I think we had gotten an EVP at the same time that all of that was happening.
I just remember as we were about to close out the night, I wanted to do one solo session, because I've always kind of, when it comes to speaking with the spiritual world, it seems like women or children are the ones that speak with me the most. And since they had so many reports of kids, I thought maybe I could sit and try to, and I do the usual thing, like you sit down on the ground, you try to get down to their level kind of thing. And mentally I'm already there, so that helps. And I remember I'd set up the trifold meter, and then I stepped back beyond the doorway so as to not to crowd the area. And the camera, I always had pointed so you could see the trifold meter. I remember that you could see the trifold meter start to go off, and I get to witness a small silver shadow. It didn't have defining features, if I recall, but it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And it was about the height of a child, maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall, not like a shadow figure that we'd seen, but almost like silver in appearance, which is just very different. I'd never seen anything else like that. So I think that's where they came up with the name for the episode too. So, but it was a cool place. But yeah, definitely checkered past, weird history, and then weird mixed use in the current day as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got the VIP treatment for this episode because it was your experience that lent the name for the title. So
right? Look at that. Looks like I made it after all, like Mary Tyler Moore.
I mean, look, half the time I'm not even shown in the episode. So
she was there in car. We saw her with cables, and then
nothing.
And nothing. She must have had food poisoning again.
I did not get food poisoning in Argentina.
No, you did well in Argentina. Well, partially because you cooked for yourself the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, this is a haunted location, right? We had enough stuff there, I believe.
Um, yes, I believe so. I believe so. I think we had a lot of personal experiences, which, you know, they're personal experiences, but
Right.
in addition to those, I think we brought forth enough, you know, evidence that
Yeah.
pointed to that. Something else I noticed throughout South America, but I think I noticed kind of specifically in Chile, because we've done Brazil and we've done Peru and stuff. But in Argentina and Chile, like the stray dogs are actually crazy smart. Like they learn to read body language, like how to cross the street without getting hit. They wait until they see people walking and then they go with the flow. Like it's crazy. But down there we had more stray dogs. I remember all throughout town. I have some pictures of like Joe Chin like trying to like sneak like jerky or I don't know what it was to this one stray dog on location.
That's great. So we go from dogs in Argentina to looking for kangaroos or something in Australia, and we go to the Monte Cristo house, Monte Cristo Homestead, something like that.
Yeah, so we end our journey in Argentina and we hop over to a completely different continent and we go to Australia.
Right, which we were already at before. They just didn't put this one in order, so it makes it look like we just flew back and forth a lot.
I feel like this location actually in Australia was the last one we filmed in Australia, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
This
Uh,
it had the look, the feel, and I think the result of we paid for you guys to go to Australia. Here's some other place. Good luck.
yeah, so this was Monte Cristo Homestead in Junee, Australia.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, the clients, the owner, the people that owned it, it's like a museum now, and they live on site though.
Right. Yeah. And they were very nice. They were nice people. Nice enough.
Very, very, very sweet.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was originally built in again like the 1800s, and I think that's a common theme in Australia, just because you know when they started
Yeah.
getting the shipments of rebel rousers from the
Yeah.
UK.
That's right. Big construction boom going on.
So late 1800s, it was originally built as a railroad hotel, I believe.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think there was just a lot of claims of like apparitions and things like that. I just remember pulling up the first thing I saw. First of all, they have a really cool like veranda on the front area of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And this giant Saint Bernard that was just like really old, and he was just his hair was matted down, but he like wanted to touch everyone and was super sweet. But that was the first impression.
Yeah. It's a lot about dogs in this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I'd rather deal with dogs than people.
More likely, yes, indeed. And this is the location, Brandy, where they had the book of photos of ghosts, but there was just like a lot of orbs and weird light, right?
Yeah, I feel like so we kind of did off camera like team meetings along with production and stuff in these people's house, which was on site. And they had like photo albums filled with like pictures of what they thought contained ghosts and different things. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, there is nothing here.
Right.
How are we gonna like put this into the story beats of this episode? Because there's just nothing here.
And when you know that the main claim is apparitions, and here's the photographic evidence of said apparitions, and you know these are not apparitions, you're like, oh, we're going to be in for a long night here.
You know, but I feel like there were maybe a few personal experiences here. But so I remember investigating part of the museum area, which was kind of like a back section. to the actual homestead. And it was probably like the original portion of the homestead, because I just remember it was very old and like kind of, it wasn't in great shape. And they had a lot of mannequins and like dressed up because it was a museum. So that kind of screwed with like their peripheral in the dark.
And Barry's afraid of mannequins, so that also came into play.
And I remember, I think, getting like maybe a couple strange EVPs, like saying "get out" or things like that. But I think it was one of those situations where it's like there's maybe some strange stuff, but not enough to go full on haunted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Full on haunted. I love it.
Well, I mean, like, it's not, we're not saying it's haunted, but it's sort of kind of maybe haunted.
Yeah. We got something going on, but not enough to go on that scale of haunted.
I always hated that.
We never understood it either. Whatever. No. It is what it is. Brandy, we're both wearing shirts with the things.
I know.
I like that.
Yep.
So it's supposed to be for running, right? I don't run.
Yeah, me neither.
I like to stay warm.
I always say the only time I'm going to run is if something's chasing me.
Yeah. And even then, I'm just going to trip somebody else next to me and just saddle off from there. It's easier.
No, but, this is the first episode that contains Australia, even though we had already been there for like a month.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Australia, and we just, again, we went on an off season. We went during their winter.
Yeah, as always. I felt like it was like a cleaner version of America.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I was there. It was like, there's enough American stuff where I was like, oh, this feels like home. Food kind of feels like home, but everywhere we were, I felt like it was very clean.
Although, so here's the joke, right? The joke is Great Britain sent all of their the harshest criminals they had down to Australia, right? And then after a while, mainland Australia was like, where are we going to put our harshest criminals?
Yeah.
And then they sent those people to Tasmania. And so I remember going to Tasmania and being like, oh.
Yeah. If you made it here, you were as bad as it got. And now it's like elderly people and college kids.
Yeah.
Like that was all that was there.
Yep.
In the Tasmanian Devils.
Yep.
Yep. Good stuff.
So yeah, I feel like, we had a haunted location, an interesting location that wasn't quite haunted, I guess.
We had Victorian photos, and we had trains and lots of dogs. We had maybe Hitler, but not really Hitler. And
I remember at the Monte Cristo homestead. So they in their personal, like their actual house that these people lived in. That's where they had like the one bathroom for everyone to use. So
you had to go there for the.
And I just remember, I think it was Joe Chin. I think Joe Chin went up to use the bathroom, and he came back down. And he's like, "There's flowers on everything, even in the toilet."
Those were like some deodorizing, like stick-on things or something.
They had like, the old school, like what everyone's grandparents had, like the big like toilet seats, that you would like buy separate. And it was like enameled, like dried flowers in it. And then they had like carpet in their bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just remembered, I really think it was Joe Chin, and he was like horrified after he like came back down.
Joe Chin is very particular about how he likes his bathrooms.
So yeah, I think that wraps up our experience in Junee. I don't remember doing any outings there. I don't remember anything about Junee, the town.
I remember just pulling up to the place, doing the case, I think it was a quick turn and burn, and then we had to get home.
Yeah, I really think so. I think, and because I think this was actually shot at the back end of our time in Australia, I think it was like the next day we literally like were on flights home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff, though. Good travels, Brandy Green. Joy and fun and seasons in the sun. Good stuff. So if you haven't seen the episodes or you want a clearer version of what actually happened there beside our fuzzy memories, you can check out all the episodes on Peacock TV. They don't pay us to say that. It'd be nice if they did, but it doesn't cost you anything to go watch them either. So if you want to check it out, you can go ahead and do that. And then catch up with us here when we do another one of these things. Right, Miss Green?
That is correct. Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.